Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 3 of My Senpai is Annoying. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Alright, so it seems like it's, like fall or early winter, getting cold out. Alright. I think I like where this is going. Igarashi's obviously going to give up her scarf. And naturally, Takeda can't let her go scarfless. I have to say, I'm kind of worried the kid's gonna say something like, boy, this other kid was really nice to me, she gave me her scarf. They make like a short joke or something like that. But you know what? This is really nice. Igarashi actually, helping that poor kid. I mean, especially seeing as how it's actually, really cold and she's not nearly as unaffected as she was pretending. I mean, I guess it's understandable that she'd be embarrassed by being watched, but I don't know. I feel like it's not a bad thing to have your good deed witnessed like that. It's probably the least objectionable thing she's been embarrassed about so far. So already it's sort of a Christmas episode, apparently. And I guess that kind of makes sense, with romance being a sort of general theme and Christmas being, in Japan at least, a romantic holiday. Although it occurs to me, we never really saw the outcome of Kazuma's date. Granted, he is a side character. Alright, so I think I know where this is going. Surely Igarashi will not draw the short straw, as it were. Alright, so she lucked out. She's, I guess, kind of a person who doesn't really like to do outgoing, sort of embarrassing office stuff. So in this regard, I guess she lucked out. Oh dear, pride cometh before the fall, I guess. Now that seems like an unfair twist of fate that there were actually 2 short straws and she managed to draw the second one. So I don't exactly know what this role of Santa entails, other than presumably dressing up and dispersing gifts throughout the office. But That doesn't seem too terrible when you get down to it, although I can imagine it would be a hassle, especially if my office adopted that practice. But what's even more important is that Igarashi is naturally sort of considering getting a gift for Takeda. And I guess it makes sense, you give people gifts on Christmas, but in Japan there's more of a romantic subtext to it, which, at this stage in the game, Igarashi's probably not willing to admit there's anything approaching romance going on. She would probably deny it pretty vehemently. But nevertheless, I think it's pretty clear what's going on. So it seems like she's spending more time with her friend from before. Her friend was sort of aware of what's going on, that there's some sort of romance, and that, there's that whole incident with the teddy bears. I can only imagine that she's going to give some advice, solicited or otherwise. Yeah, here we go, like clockwork, she's already sort of broaching the topic, like, you buying something for someone? Surely you must have someone in mind, and indeed Igarashi does. So she's quick to sort of play it off like, this is just something between co-workers, but I feel like that's not actually quashing any of Natsumi's suspicions. Especially since Igarashi's so squeamish about it. So here's the crux of the issue, she doesn't really know what to get. And I think Natsumi actually makes a reasonable suggestion, a necktie, something that you would use so it's practical, but, practicality isn't the only aspect to it. It could look nice. Ideally it would look nice, but it could be something reserved for special occasions as well. So I guess now the problem is what necktie would be best. Because on the one hand, that floral pattern necktie is rather cute, but, I guess understandably Igarashi couldn't imagine Takeda wearing that. I feel like in her position she would probably do well to get something simple but elegant, Like, not something cutesy like with the panda bears or the floral print. Or maybe if there were like a floral print, like something like really intricate and fancy rather than simplistic. Now, it's probably not a bad choice of necktie, that two-tone tie with the purple and green. I think it's no coincidence that, the green matches Igarashi's coloration and purple is a complementary color, My vast knowledge of color theory informs me that this was certainly planned out. It really doesn't seem like the whole Christmas thing is that much of a pain, really. You just go around giving little gift bags to people. Sure, you have to wear the outfit, but, it's not really bad when you get down to it. Ooh, okay. So it seems like everybody's kind of aware of what Igarashi's doing. But of course, this only makes things a little bit more difficult, you know? She can't really be sneaky about it if everybody's sort of suspecting it. And I feel like if she were to just give him a gift, you know, that would attract a lot of attention, you know? There's gotta be some way to do it. And also, I just noticed Takeda's already wearing a purple tie, so it seems like this purple and green thing, you know, there's a lot to that, just symbolically speaking. Yeah, so unfortunately for Igarashi, no good deed goes unpunished, and she's procrastinated a little too long. I mean, that really is typical, you know, you put something off for 5 minutes and then the person you wanted to talk to at the office has decided to work the rest of the day from home. And I mean, you know, sure, you could just call them up, but, you know, sometimes it's better to talk face to face. Alright, so that's kind of suspicious too, you know. Igarashi's talking about the right time. And if I were her friend, I would suspect that Igarashi perhaps had another ulterior motive as well. But, you know, realistically, she just sort of meant like, you know, she was at work, working, you know. There's not always time to, like, stop and chit-chat with your coworkers. You know, maybe it's sort of like Igarashi's stature and the fact that there's a Christmas episode, but this really does sort of remind me of Toradora in a weird kind of way. I mean, granted, there are obvious differences and disparities, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just making a bit of a stretch here, but I'm kind of getting that vibe. You know, obviously Igarashi isn't nearly as inclined to violence as Taiga is, but there is a certain degree of feistiness, I guess. I guess the big difference here is that we see a lot of stuff from Igarashi's perspective, so, you know, we sort of are privy to how she thinks. Man, I feel like there really isn't going to be a good time. She's just going to have to bite the bullet during lunch or something. I mean, at the rate she's going, you know, she's not going to get any privacy to drop off the tie. Yeah, and it seems like, you know, now that work is picking up and getting busy, she's not going to have a good time during the day either. I mean, I don't know what date it's supposed to be realistically other than, you know, prior to Christmas, I would imagine. So, I mean, if she wants to give him the gift before Christmas, I feel like time is of the essence. Although that said, you know, this might prove to be a fortuitous opportunity. If he's being called in for a meeting and she's going with him, you know, might as well do it. You know, seeing as how they have some degree of privacy. You know, I'm sure she doesn't want to interact with him face to face in this manner because it's embarrassing, but it's certainly a lot better than doing it in front of the whole office. Yeah, I mean, she's even kind of aware that this is really her only chance, but even so, you know, she still has to sort of hesitate and procrastinate. Oh, dear. Man, it really seems like fate is just conspiring to make this as awkward for her as possible. I mean, maybe it's sort of working out, seeing as how she's gonna have dinner with them, but... You know, I'd imagine, like, a chicken dinner isn't going to be particularly romantic, but, I mean, at the very least, it'll give her another opportunity. And you know, that's another thing, like, apparently, due to a remarkable ad campaign, Kentucky Fried Chicken is considered sort of like Christmas food in Japan. Like, I don't know if I'd call it like an out-and-out tradition, but there's certainly like something going on where people ordering KFC for Christmas dinner. And to be honest, you know, that sounds just so incredibly foreign to me, but I don't know, there's something kind of endearing about it. I don't know, maybe I just like Christmas time traditions and things like that. Even if it's not, you know, deeply rooted in the culture. Man, so it seems like we're actually getting a little bit more on this side plot with Kazuma. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like they're necessarily going anywhere really quickly. You know, there was that whole business about them having dinner, but we didn't get any closure on that. I mean, they're not like flirting with each other or anything, but there's definitely interest. You know, even if Kazuma is kind of awkward about things. You know, this is interesting. I can't really think of an anime that really sort of had, I guess, two parallel plots like this that are both romantic. I mean, maybe I haven't actually seen a lot where something like this would happen, but it strikes me as kind of unusual. I mean, it's not that I don't like it or anything, but I feel like maybe, I don't know, you should kind of like focus on one over the other or both of them equally. Yeah, I don't know, maybe there just like wasn't enough here between Sakurai and Kazuma to, I guess, necessitate their own thing or like a dedicated episode or something. But there's definitely something here. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some actual romance going on here, albeit kind of slowly. Man, so it seems like Igarashi still hasn't given him the tie. And you know, now he's saying things like, boy, it'll be dull when Christmas is over, you know. Hint, hint, Igarashi, give him the tie. Now, I find it interesting that Takeda is so excited about snow. I mean, maybe it has something to do with, like, the climate of Japan, but I was under the impression that snow is pretty common there. I mean, where I live, we get snow quite a bit, so, you know, I don't really find it too special. It's more of a pain in the fundament than anything else after it's been around for a while. Alright, now this is nice. Obviously Igarashi was kind of insecure about this whole ordeal. Even to the point where she said, if you don't like the tie, you can throw it out. I think it would take a really callous person to throw out a gift like that. And to his credit, Takeda just kinda gets her to stop talking like that. And even more than that, he bought her a scarf. So I think that's really nice, tying up the beginning of the episode into this, He watched her give her scarf to a kid, so now he got her a scarf, and that is sweet, especially seeing as how she very clearly cherishes it. Alright, so this is interesting. So I guess Igarashi was kind of hoping he would wear the new necktie, but he's not. And I do find it interesting that she really is so incredibly disappointed about this. I think that sort of implies that she really does care about this whole thing a lot more than she lets on. It's not that Takeda hates the tie or anything. Quite the contrary, in fact. So, yeah, he sort of rigged it up for display on his desk, but that sort of defeats the purpose of a whole tie. I guess it's good in a sense that he does cherish it, but not to wear the tie seems like a waste. And unfortunately, he's not really getting the message here. Oh dear. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.